Hi, I'm Savin. I'm 15 years old, and some things I do for fun are play basketball, play video games, and talk to my friends. And a fun fact about me is that I was born in Massachusetts and moved to California, but my parents were born in Sri Lanka.
Hi, I'm Deven. I'm 15 years old. I use he, him pronouns. I was born in California, but both of my parents are from India. And in my free time, I like to cook. I like to hang out with my friends, and I like to play basketball with my friends. And one interesting fact about me is that I'm blind in my left eye.
The strongest emotion with social media is happy or happiness.
Seeing your friend do like something stupid, or like you doing something stupid and sending it to your friend, it's like a commonality and something that makes you happy.
Social media is more like an unserious place for us, at least. Like, it's not supposed to be a serious thing. It's more like a simulation that's outside of your real life. And I feel like that gives happiness. We both went to the same elementary school. At first we didn't, but Deven moved to my elementary school in, I believe, second grade?
Third year.
Oh, third grade, okay. We both went to the same writing club thing, and we didn't like do the work specifically. We would just like mess around and have fun. And that's where we really bonded over, just like messing around and having fun.
How our friendship has developed over the years, it's like, I would say it's like remained like pretty much the same. Obviously it's different now because we're older and we like can't see each other as much because we have other things. But I think like social media like helps connect us better when we can't see each other.
Some of the platforms we use consist of Discord, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok.
You're able to have like these things called servers. And what that is, it's basically like a large group chat with a bunch of different people, and you can invite as many people as you would like. So even if you have like 30 friends or something like that, you can still have all of them and be able to call all 30 of them at the same time, and they can all talk to each other. And I think the part that's like really good about Discord is that you can have it in the background while playing the game. So typical interaction online, either consists of like texting each other or like calling each other. Most of the time it happens when we play video games with each other. I would say texting is relatively frequently because some of the classes we have the same teachers. So we sometimes text each other about homework problems and other things like that. If we talk using voice communication, I would say it's more like when we play video games.
And I think we definitely call each other more than text because like we want to actually communicate when we're not seeing each other. So we usually call on Discord, and it goes on for however long we're playing video games, so that can span from like an hour to 3 hours, something like that.
Like yesterday we talked, like him and me and like a couple of other friends, we talked for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So Discord is like a social media app. Basically, it's kind of like Slack. And I feel like the general attitude towards like parental controls, at least from like people I know, is like yeah, it sucks, but there's really like, you can't get around it, is like how I view it. Yeah, I think another app that parents here like to use a lot is like if you have like a Mac device or a Windows device, there's like certain like screen time limitations you can put on that. And then with that, you can limit like certain games and apps. Like I remember when I was younger, and I like on my personal computer at home, my parents would like limit like how many like hours of video games I can play per day and things like that. Obviously, like we see it as a negative thing, but I think in all actuality, it's like probably like helps me, I guess is the best way to put it, because I haven't like sunken in like all of my life to this like one thing, and I'm able to like grow as a person and branch out.
In a 24-hour day, like during a school day, during the morning, I'll typically like use Snapchat, and then during the school day, I can't really use my device as much. Snapchat is a platform where you send pictures to other people, and it can just be like goofy or funny. that's what it's meant to be. So that's what I use it for, like in the mornings.
I think the reason why Snapchat is so big is because it enables you to have filters, and like you can put on like a funny filter,
Yeah.
and then like send it to your friends.
It's like picture texting almost.
Yeah, like just to add on to what he said, I feel like Snapchat is more for like your close friends, whereas like on Instagram, like for example, like if you have a following of like 1,000 people, you can post like, you know, if you went on a trip or if you had like a special dinner or something on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But like Snapchat to me is more like of a personal connection.
After school, I'll typically call my friends about homework, again using like Discord or messages, however it may be. After I do my homework, I'll use Snapchat again, check my Snapchat, send pictures, check my messages, and like check up on who wanted to communicate with me and stuff like that.
So in a 24-hour day, the first thing I do usually, unfortunately, is I check my phone. And when I check my phone, I usually check Snapchat, but I don't like open any of the Snapchats. I just check to see like who like send me a picture. And then sometimes I check Instagram just to see, because I use Instagram like sort of avidly. And then during the day, our school is pretty strict about like phone usage, so usually we don't get to use it that much during the day. Sometimes, like if I'm in like a boring class or something, I'll use my phone to send like Snapchats to my friends, like we were just talking about. Or if like I need some, like let's say I like left my hoodie at a friend's house and I can see that friend at school and you can give it to me, like I'll text him about that. And then after school, it's usually, because we take the bus together. So usually like on the bus, I'll like use Snapchat a little bit more, and I'll send Snapchats of like my friends and like to my friends and things like that. When I get home, I don't really use my phone that much because I try to focus more on work. And then after I'm done with my work, I usually like either watch TikTok or I send more Snapchats. I think one of the main reasons it's easier to talk to each other like while playing games is that it's, number one, it's not like a face-to-face interaction, because I feel like those often feel like confrontational almost. And it's a lot more like colloquial in my mind. Like if you're just playing games with someone and you ask them to like call while you're playing the game.
Or it's easier to talk while we play video games because it's like a separation from real life almost. Like it's like a simulation or game that we find a common objective for and then like communicate about that objective.
It's so nice to like have someone to talk to, like if we're playing like totally separate games. And I think like games like really impact our friendship, and they really have like strengthened us over the years, because him and me and then a couple of other friends, like we all got really, really close over the pandemic because, you know, we didn't do anything. We just sat and played video games all the time. And that like really enabled us to like build a connection with each other. And even now it like still like helps us build our friendships. Just yesterday we were playing Fortnite. And then after that we played like an online version of Monopoly. And then some other games we played like Rocket League. And then sometimes we play Valorant.
So on Deven's profile, he obviously has his name, he's listed his pronouns, and he mentions where he goes to high school, Gun High School, and the area where he lives, the Bay Area. And he doesn't have any posts, however, he does have his highlighted stories which show up right above the post. And some of the things he has are like hanging out with friends. Pretty much all of his highlighted stories are just hanging out with friends. And he obviously has his followers and his tagged posts. So some of them are just like being silly with friends. Like they went to like the Barbie like showcase booth and like they all went in and took a picture. They were on like a carriage. I don't even know why they were on a carriage, but and then it was just like all of them. And then another time was just them walking, I guess. So Deven doesn't have any posts on his story on his Instagram page. However, he does have his highlighted stories, which are him just hanging out with friends.
I think one of the reasons I don't have like posts on stories is because they're like sort of like permanent. While it's not a bad thing, it's sort of like it sort of like makes me cringe to go back and see, because I remember when I first like started to like get back into Instagram, I had a bunch of like posts from like 2018, 2017 and things like that, and it sort of just made me cringe. So to avoid that, I just don't really post anything. I mean, I might in the future, obviously, but I think for now, I'm probably not gonna post anything that's like permanent. So now I'm gonna look through my Instagram feed like I normally do.
And I'm gonna narrate how he's doing it. So I mean, he's just scrolling, not really interacting with any posts. He's scrolling through suggested followings and he's looking at different accounts and going through their posts. He looks through a post that's about food and he likes it. He keeps scrolling. He starts scrolling through a specific post that has multiple images in it. I think it's about a car and how it has a gaming console inside of it. And he's scrolling and there's a video attached to it, so he's watching it. He scrolled without reacting to it. He sees content about sports and he likes it. It's about a football player. He liked it and then he started scrolling. More news pages like NBC. Another news page about, I think, a man found a dinosaur. What differs from his feed is that I definitely have more sports related stuff on my feed. The genre of stuff on Deven's feed, I would describe it as like mostly food, sneakers, and some sports. And I would say my page differs from his as I have more sports related things on my feed. The vibe of his profile would be like he's sort of out there, but he's also like mysterious because he's not posting. I don't know. I'm opening my TikTok page and I post, however, they're friends only, they're not public posts.
And I'm gonna describe his profile on TikTok. So looking at it right now, I can see his 2 drafts. So I'm gonna look at those right now. These are videos of like it's like a filter with him and another one of our friends. And they're like playing the game on the filter together. The one of them I'm looking at right now, it's a video of him and his friends dancing. And then I scroll to another one, it's another one of his friends, but he's trying on like a funny filter. And then another one is also one with a funny filter, except it's like both of them are in the frame and he switches between different people. And then this is one where I'm in it. It's like a game on TikTok where you tap the screen. The vibe of Savin's profile page is definitely very out there because he has a lot of videos posted that are funny, but it's also sort of like reserved in a way because like all of them are friends only. So obviously if you only have if you have to be following him and he has to be following you, and that's the only way that you can see these posts. So I would say it's like very like comical, but it's also like only meant for friends like type thing. So right now he's looking at a video of a guy that looks like he's in a barber shop. He's watching the whole thing, hasn't interacted with it yet. He's looking at the comments of it right now. And he is scrolling through the comments a little bit. Okay, he switched to another video. It's a video about LeBron James. It's a video of a guy exercising. This I think is a video of someone on the Baltimore Ravens getting their championship ring. There's another video about the 49ers game that happened today. He's opening up the comments. So Savin's page is definitely a lot more sports oriented than mine is. And I think that's just because he's a lot more into sports like basketball and football than I am. So right now we're gonna play a game together called Brawl Stars on our phones. And this is just to give you an example of like how we talk to each other when we play games. Oh, I'm gonna, okay. Just Deven.
Alright, I'm coming to help you.
Okay, please.
Oh, these people are really good.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna that too. Yep, Bunch died. Okay, someone else just... They scored.
Are we done? Oh.
No, we're not done.
Oh, I scored for us.
You didn't score.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think we lost the game.
Yeah, we lost the game. So.
Something that gives me frustration in social media is like when people try to bring in like real life stuff into it, because like that's like my escape. And I don't want to be seeing stuff like that when I'm online. So that could be stuff like politics or, you know, stuff that happened at school. I think it's like sort of a good thing to be frustrated on social media at times because it shows that like you obviously can't have a bond that's like non-confrontational. At some point you guys like are gonna fight.
social media allows for it to happen like much more naturally, in my opinion.
And I feel like we would almost be like robotic if social media was only happiness.
Right.
Like you have to deal with different situations that come at you. Our online interactions are definitely more silly than in person because, you know, you can't just like be screaming in the middle of the road in real life. But like when we're talking to each other playing a video game, like it's funny.
Online to me is more of just like a place where you can like sort of mess around and there's no like real repercussions so long as you're being safe and things like that. But like in person, like I would have more serious conversations, like for example, circling back to the question of like talking about emotions online. Like I feel like I would be more comfortable sharing that in person than I would be online. Like that's just one of the differences that I find from. So one thing that brings me excitement online. So for me, for example, I'm really into sneakers and I follow a lot of like sneaker accounts on Instagram. And like whenever they like post a new shoe that looks really cool and like that I want, I'd like gets me excited because then I'm like tracking the price of it and like when it'll come out and a bunch of different things like that. Like for example, if I see that our school like has an event in a few days because they usually post that on social media, I usually get excited for that and then I tell my friends and ask them if they're gonna go or not and things like that.
What brings me excitement is like finding out when like my favorite artist is gonna drop a new album or song or what like new clothes or sneakers are coming out, like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's cool to see.
So sometimes when I get a feeling of isolation online, it's usually like when none of my friends are like actively like online. Like for example, like we have a Discord group chat with like a bunch of our friends, and sometimes I feel like isolated when like none of them are playing like the game right now.
Yeah, with what Deven said, when you have social media and you're being bombarded with all these things that give you happiness, like your friends being online to play a video game, like constant posts from your favorite person, I guess. When that's your only source of happiness, it kind of like diminishes or it makes you isolated.
I feel like my thoughts on AI, with everything in life, there's a good side, there's a bad side, and if you like use too much of it, then obviously it'll harm you. But for example, like one of the great things that AI can do, and something that like even I use today, is it can create like mock quizzes and tests. Like I can literally just ask it like, hey, print me or make me a chemistry test based on, you know, these elements in the periodic table, and they can do that, and it gives you the answer sheet as well. So it's both a tool. It's like a double-edged sword. It's both a tool, and it's both something, and it's also something that can hurt you. I would say I don't really use AI outside of like studying purposes, really.
My thoughts on AI are pretty similar to that. Like, I feel like it's kind of with social media, as I said before, where it's like when you have so much of it and then it gets stripped away, like I feel like all the emotions you had for it feel isolated. So yeah, again with AI, I feel it's the same. If you use it too much, it's bad, but if you use it for like studying purposes, like I feel like it's a good tool.
If I have an English assignment and I need to find quotes in like a book, but I don't want to flip through the specific sections, I'll just ask like ChatGPT or something, like find me a quote from this book, and then it can do that. And it's not like I'm cheating because it is in the book, but it's just a faster way of finding the quote without me like having to like flip through the pages and look at the timestamp or look at the page number.
Most of the time when I've seen social media portrayed, it's like teenage girls, and they don't really like sway to the boy side of that, I feel like. So I haven't seen myself portrayed much.
Yeah.
In the social media side of it.
So I watch a lot of TV shows where like girls are the main characters, and I feel like boys aren't represented properly in these TV shows because it feels like even when they are represented, like a boy our age, it's like very like fictional. It feels very straight from reality, and it doesn't feel like true to like what life is like as being a teenager in 2023. I think like one of the things they could do is like ground themselves, I guess, because like all these teenage boys, like they live like these like luxurious like lives, for like lack of a better word, and they also deal with a lot of like drug abuse and substance abuse. And like while that is a very prevalent thing, and I'm not denying that, I think it's more of like focus on like the positives of being a teenager rather than just the negatives. Because like while there are like a lot of negatives, I'm not getting away from that. But I feel like being a teenager has like both its upsides and its downsides.
Teenagers getting too involved with social media, I guess. Like they go out of their way to like message strangers, get in trouble, like stuff like that. Like I don't do that personally.
Yeah. I think like one example that I can relate to, there's a TV show called The Summer I Turned Pretty. So it's about this girl who lives with her, or like goes every summer to a beach house with her family friends, and it's sort of like a love trope between them because like the boys love the girl, but then the girl is only like in love with one of the boys. And like I like watch the show and I think like it's a good show, but like one of the things I think about is sort of like they live in this like, you know, beautiful house, like there's no like real like problems, I guess. And it like sort of like begs the question like why is like their life seems like so perfect compared to like the life of like an average teenager, and they seem like a lot more affluent and happy than like the average person would be. So one example of teens and social media that I've seen is in a show called Never Have I Ever. It's about this girl who desperately wants to become like cool in high school. And that to me seems like so strayed from like what high school is really like, because in actuality, there's only like very few people, at least that I've seen, that like actually want to like become cool and fit in and things like that. And I think that's like one of the things that makes me cringe. It's like this person who like is ditching her whole like previous persona just to fit in with like this like newer crowd of people. And to me that feels like so like old, I guess is the word, because like 20 years ago that would have been sort of true, and I guess that would have been like a good idea back then. But now I feel like there's so many other things in social media and for teens in high school to focus on. It feels sort of like strayed, I guess, from what life is actually like as a teenager.
I feel like that's another like trope that people see in like TV shows where it's like different cliques or like the popular kids, this thing, and then they would have more followers than another. But I feel like at our school, it's not like a problem where people care about how many followers one person has.
One of the things that I would like to see from TV shows like portraying teens' lives is like more like grounded, like day in the lives, I guess, of teenagers. Because right now I watch TV shows and it doesn't feel like super grounded to reality or even like real at times. I guess like a more relatable environment and more relatable like characters where they all aren't obsessed over like social media, because that's just like not as true anymore, at least in my opinion.
I would like them to portray more not of like stereotypes, but then just like the pure like grounded version of how people use social media, which is like, I mean, casually talking to friends or, you know, scrolling through Instagram, not like checking individual people's followers and who's popular, who's not. Like that's really not accurate at all.
Yeah. I think one thing that writers can do better is just portray the lives of teenagers like more accurately. Like for example, like not all of us are obsessed with like our social media following or like who is friends with who or who follows who or things like that. I don't think it's like down to like the last minute detail anymore. I think people more care about like what people are doing, I guess is a better way of putting it. But people don't care like if someone has like a lot of like clout or followers or anything like that.
I think that where writers could do better is where they don't focus too much on the media side of teenagers' lives. Like as you said, it should be accurate, but I don't feel like a TV show should have so much of the media perspective on it.